Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Blitz Growth. Today I have a very exciting guest and I'm really looking forward to this topic. Evan has worked with a bunch of amazing and very impressive brands from Match to Warner Brothers to Amazon and a bunch in between. His creative agency is helping brands stay on the cutting edge of social trends with a strong emphasis on all of the creative that he's been doing in TikTok recently. So I can't wait to dive into that. With over 100 billion video views with an average watch time over 2 minutes, these guys definitely know how to make engaging, awesome content. So we're going to dive into that today. Don't necessarily get as much watch time. What's unique about TikTok, and why do you think they disrupted the market so much? Because they're the fastest growing out of any of the platforms, I think.
Yeah, ever. They're just growing so fast. I think there's two things that are really unique about TikTok that have driven this insane amount of adoption. The first one is the creativity. The creativity, because of the TikTok format and both the built-in tools, but more the community, just like really embracing authentic lo-fi content. They've unleashed a level of creativity from the general public that people are creating who never created really for Instagram or for YouTube because the barrier was too high or the aesthetic was too polished. And that means that as a consumer, whether you're a creator or not, whether as a consumer on TikTok of content, it's just delightful to scroll through and you are just so entertained by all the creativity that people have bring to the platform. So I think that's one huge differentiator. The level of creativity is just much higher than we've ever seen, and a much broader base of creativity of creators than an Instagram or a YouTube, for example. The second really big differentiator, I think, for TikTok is the algorithm. Their algorithm and the discoverability that they created with their algorithm is just so much better than what anybody else has ever built. YouTube is the most close competitor there. They have a recommendation algorithm that tries to guess what you'll be interested in. When I look at my YouTube homepage, like I'm only really interested in 10% of those videos, it's just kind of missing the mark for me. But YouTube, it just draws you in and it gets to know you. And any two people, if you compare their TikTok experience, they look nothing alike, which is crazy. But that speaks to the success of the algorithm, really tailoring the experience for each person. So I think those are really the two main factors behind the insane growth rate that we've seen with TikTok.
Is there anything that you see working really well in terms of brands creating content? And are there any tips that you can give for brands trying to get into TikTok and trying to create content for it? Because it's very different to like Instagram, for example.
Yeah, it is very different. And we're answering this question every day for our clients. It's a really important one. The first thing I would offer is that to create for TikTok, you need to create for TikTok. And that's the first mistake that we see a lot of brands make is they have their creative that they got for their TV commercials or their Instagram stories or whatnot, and they just want to port it into TikTok. Not a good idea. At best, it will be awkward. At worst, you'll just look like an interloper brand that really doesn't get it. And you don't want to appear like that, right? So I wish that went without saying, but I do want to say that is the first answer to your question. It doesn't. So then when we think about, okay, well, I want to create natively for TikTok, and TikTok ran a famous campaign, don't make ads, make TikToks, which is spot on. But of course, that begs the question, well, how do I make a TikTok? What does that look like to create natively for TikTok? And I would point to a couple of things. Obviously, we could spend days talking about this, but the first thing is just the content style, right? TikTok is lo-fi, first of all, production value, and there's exceptions, but in general, as a brand, you don't want to be doing your fancy film shoots and then put that onto TikTok. TikTok grew up because people were filming it in their kitchen, in their backyard. They're filming it with friends. They're filming most of their content on their iPhone. And that's how we film most of our brand content, on an iPhone, or filmed to look like it was filmed on an iPhone, right? Another key point in making TikToks, not ads, would be the authenticity. Definitely an overused word, but so important. Instagram is polished, it's aspirational, it's curated. TikTok is raw, and the brands that do best there really let their hair down, and they just tell stories in a more real and authentic way. And the third big piece that I would point to is the human element, where Instagram, for example, give you an example, we work with Stitch Fix, and they do great with flat lay content on Instagram, just like putting the clothes in a really styled way on like a white table. that doesn't have the humanity that TikTok requires. Works great on Instagram, doesn't work great on TikTok, because TikTok is human stories. So we would always want to see at least a person's hand moving around and manipulating things, but probably you want to see that person, see them wearing the clothes, right? Just a very different storytelling style that's going to work well on TikTok.
Quick question on that one. So brands who are e-commerce and they are trying to enter the market, what's the easiest way for them to get involved in TikTok? So you said Stitch Fix does the lay flats and then has a person maybe engaging as well. Are there some main kind of like trends or pillars of content that e-commerce brands can use to kind of get involved in TikTok?
Well, let me just back up and there's 5 ways for brands to play on TikTok in general. So I can talk through those, and e-commerce brands might be interested in some, but not all. The first one is having your brand channel. So this is your organic, always on presence, right? Second way to engage on TikTok is to work with influencers. Really amazing way in. Third way is to do traditional ads. TikTok offers a product they call their in-feed ads, just like a Snap ad or an IG ad. So those 3 are basically the same across any social platform, right? Your brand channel, influencers, and ads. There's 2 more that we find that are really unique to TikTok. One is these viral challenges. And I think these are the campaigns that are often making headlines, right? I mentioned the example of our e.l.f. Cosmetics #EyesLipsFace challenge, which got over 5 million user-generated videos contributed to the challenge. It's totally crazy. This is how we get these billion view campaigns. I mean, we just launched a campaign on Friday, and over the weekend it was past 4 billion views, which is wild. Those are the views across all of the UGC that's contributed. So it's thousands or hundreds of thousands of videos, and then they get up to billions of views, right? Anyway, so this is the 4th way for brands to play, and obviously one of the most alluring because of these numbers. The 5th way for brands to play is what we call disruptive campaigns. And this is a category that Movers and Shakers loves to keep pioneering, but this doesn't fit in any of the boxes, right? So a couple examples. We launched the first ever TikTok native reality show last year for one of our clients. It was entirely native to TikTok, aired on the brand's channel, and 20 to 40-second episodes. We launched a month ago with Nerf. We launched a huge Nerf tournament that's entirely happening on TikTok. People nominated themselves to be on the teams. We had team captains who are these mega influencers, and now the teams are competing against each other entirely through TikTok for winning the Nerf tournament, right? So these are examples of this 5th category, which is totally out of the box disruptive campaigns, and we love those, obviously, at Movers and Shakers. So anyway, just to recap, those are 5 ways for brands to play: brand channel, influencers, ads, viral challenges, and disruptive campaigns. So to go back to your question about e-commerce brands, the ads, number 3, is where most of them think to start, and certainly I think still their best bet, because that's the best way if you're really focused on lower funnel and conversions. Ads is typically the only way you get that direct click out that can go towards a landing page. They are building that functionality more and more. So there's different programs in beta for influencers and things like that. And now increasingly you can have a link in bio. So influencers is probably the next place to look. And then, of course, brand channel. It's funny, we've been having people ask us for years, like, do we need a TikTok channel? And I think it's pretty clear at this point that TikTok's here to stay. So it is important to get that going. But that's going to be more upper and mid funnel.
So what was the process there? How come you decide to create your own music as opposed to use somebody else's? And the EyesLipsFace one makes sense, but for the other challenges you create, or the other content that you create, when do you decide to make your own music versus use someone else's music?
It's a great question. And funny story, when we created the EyesLipsFace challenge in 2019, TikTok told us not to create an original song because the best practice at that time was to license a hit song, which was good advice at the time. But just to give you a little context, my agency, Movers and Shakers, has been created original branded music since we started 5 years ago. And a lot of our work across channels has relied on using original music to do branded storytelling. That's one of the things that I think has made our content so emotionally impactful. So when we were looking at TikTok and entering there, we saw an opportunity to create an original branded song, even though that's what was recommended at the time. And we did it. And as I just explained with the Spotify chart results, like, it obviously worked. And now that's created the playbook that most brands who create a viral challenge now they copy our playbook and they create an original song. And in general, we still do that. Last year we probably created 30 plus original branded songs. A lot of those we created for TikTok challenges. Um, and there's a whole art and a science to both creating really hit music, but also creating music that will tee up a viral challenge, but that also carries a brand message forward, right? Marrying those three is tricky, but something that we've really mastered. Another great example of a song that we wrote is we did a campaign for Amazon last year called Pajama Jam. And it was around the holidays. The idea was to promote Amazon as a destination for apparel. And we created a challenge that invited people to do a catwalk at home in your holiday pajamas or with your family in matching holiday pajamas. So we wrote this song that basically allows you to feel like you're on the catwalk or in RuPaul's Drag Race or something. And you just strut your stuff is super silly, right? With your family in your holiday PJs. But I wish I'll send you the music. You can code it into the podcast here. But it just for sure. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Because the songs they really get people going and they create an architecture for the challenge. So when we're doing a TikTok challenge, we almost always would create music. The only time we wouldn't is if the brand already has its own music IP. So for example, we work with a lot of movie releases and sometimes there's musical IP from that we'd want to work in instead. Just a point on there, because I know your listeners are going to ask, based on what you said, it's challenging for brands because brands don't have access to all the pop songs that you do as a general TikToker. So TikTok will buy a license for a normal user to use the latest song from Megan Thee Stallion or Drake or whomever. But as a brand, you don't have access to that because that's a different type of license. So TikTok's not going to buy for the brand. And so that creates a big hurdle. You can no longer do what you just said, which is just as a brand, hop on those trends that are driven by music. And that's why some brands are bringing their own music, we're creating music, or we're searching through other library music to find music that feels good on TikTok. And then still participating in trends, but there's a lot of trends that aren't driven by the music. It's just a lot more work for our team to go find those and then integrate the brand into them.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good question. So, what about influencers on TikTok? Because they're kind of like halfway between a regular user and halfway through a brand because they're still selling their service, which is kind of the product of their followers, really. So, where do
Yeah.
they fall in that category? Or is that a gray
Well,
area?
influencers are lucky. As of now, and influencers consult your own lawyers, but TikTok allows influencers access to the full library, right? So you see
Interesting.
big influencers using all the hit songs, and if I was an influencer, I would probably be doing the same thing because that allows you to get in more trends. You just have to be careful when you're doing branded work because there might be different rules that would apply to you.
Now you've got the challenge, you've got the music and everything. How are you kind of getting the trend to become popular? What's the promotion strategy you guys use? Because you can't just really make content and then just hope for the best. I think you've got to, set up the formula to get it to actually go viral. But what's your promotion strategy, or what's your launch strategy for once you've got all the creation of the content done? And then what's the next step?
Yeah, you absolutely do need to push it out there. And it is a snowball. So at a certain point, it hits critical mass and then it will really start to go organically. But we do a big push at the beginning. And we have two main levers for that. One is the influencers that we work with. We're certainly relying on their reach. And the second one is the TikTok ads. So TikTok actually sells an ad product called the branded hashtag challenge. And all of these billion view campaigns that you hear about or you read about in the papers, these are using that TikTok ad product. And what that does is it gets you a lot of exposure in the app. It gets the challenge typically on the Discover page. It creates a landing page, and you get a bunch of ads that help propel that forward. In fact, when you open up TikTok on any given day, you see the first video that comes up is almost always an ad. Often it's promoting a challenge, and that's obviously an ad placement that you can purchase. So what we do is we come up, like you said, we come up with a concept, we write the music, we hire these influencers, and then with a big influencer and ad blitz, we push that snowball out. And if the creative concept is awesome, it will resonate. And then users will start to join in, and then those people create videos who then get seen, and then more people see those and then create more videos that then get seen. And that's where you can actually get that organic snowball going.
Hey guys, we put a bunch of effort into making great content for this YouTube channel, so please hit subscribe, leave us a comment, hit like, and tell a few friends about it.